Hello friends, welcome back to Dishing Out. The holidays are upon us, and for all of us I hope that means fun, family, friends, and great food. But for some of us, I know it also entails entertaining, and if the thought of cooking up a dinner for 4, 6, 8, 10 or more of your closest family and friends terrifies you, then stick around. I've got 5 tips for easy and effortless entertaining that will make your holiday meals a breeze. On top of that, a French bistro themed meat and potatoes recipe that you're going to have to taste to believe. The best part, it comes together easier than a piece of IKEA furniture. Let's check it out. Rule number 1 is keep it simple. Look, you're not entertaining heads of state, you're not catering a wedding, it's just dinner or lunch or something like that. You eat it every day. So at the end of the day, just pick a few basic recipes and let everything come together as simply as possible. Rule number 2, you want to have a theme. No, this doesn't mean that you need to go out and spend $300 on decorations and new plates, or that you need to, have an interior designer come in and redo your entire dining room. But just pick a general concept that the recipes and the decor will follow. For example, like today I said I'm going to do sort of a French bistro take. This will help anyone who may be bringing drinks, desserts, appetizers, things like that, to know kind of what vein to go into looking into when they're looking for recipes. Now, when it comes to decor, that's rule number 3. A little goes a long way. Sometimes something as simple as a candle or, poinsettia can let you know that it's Christmas now. So when you're setting up your table or your buffet, just some basic candles, tablecloths, little, odds and ends like that. That's really all you need to really set the mood and make it seem like a special occasion. Rule number 4, no more than 3 courses. And in fact, if you want to serve everything buffet style or family style, I think that's a fantastic idea. It allows everyone to get as much or as little as they would like of each item without feeling like it's a really formal setting. And finally, rule number 5, outsource the appetizer and the dessert, if at all possible. In order to maximize your enjoyment of the holidays and this gathering, you don't want to be doing all the work slaving away in the kitchen all day or all night. If you can get a friend or family member to bring an appetizer and or a dessert, all the better. When it comes to holiday dinners, a meat and potatoes entree is just about as classic as you can get. And I think probably the prototypical meat would be the prime rib, of course. And I love prime rib and I have nothing bad to say about it, but if I'm going to be dropping 10, 15, 20 or more dollars per pound for a piece of meat, that I want to be able to cook without worrying about screwing it up, then I'm going to go with a chateaubriand. The chateau or chateaubriand is a French term that just refers to the most perfectly sized, deliciously tender, center cut part of the filet mignon. Now, you can buy an entire filet mignon and break it down yourself. I've done it before and it's actually quite a lot of fun, but if you don't want all the other scraps and other leftover pieces of meat lying around, then go to your butcher and just ask them to cut you a chateau. Most major grocery stores that have butchers on site will do it for you, and certainly any specialty meat market like where I got mine will be more than happy to oblige. This is what our roast looks like out of its protective packaging. I had the butcher go ahead and tie it up. That helps to keep it nice and even as it cooks through. And right now all I'm going to do is just season it up with some kosher salt on all sides. I'm going to get it into the fridge uncovered for at least 2 hours. You could really go overnight if you want to. The purpose of this, as we've talked about many times before, is twofold. If we want to get a nice crusty exterior on the meat, then it needs to be dry, and the salt's going to help to pull moisture out of the surface of the meat. And as it does so, it's also going to be absorbed, the salt that is, back into the meat to help season it more thoroughly. So into the fridge with this beautiful piece of meat. Now look, I am a sucker for some delicious, cheesy, creamy, just velvety mashed potatoes as much as anyone, but If we're gonna go a different direction than the prime rib, then I think it's only fair that we take a little different direction on the potato spot as well. So to me, the perfect potato has a golden, crunchy, crispy exterior and a really light, fluffy, almost pillowy interior. And if you disagree, please seek help, because that is potato perfection. Add in a little bit of herbiness, maybe a little bit of lemon zest for brightness, and what you're about to witness is, in my humble opinion, the best roasted potato recipe ever. Now I know what you're thinking. When I started this channel, I said I was not going to lay claim to the best recipe, but well, I've eaten a lot of potatoes in my life, and I'm just going to tell you right now that it's just my opinion, but this is the best. You're going to start with about 3 to 4 pounds of russet potatoes, a lemon, garlic, good robust olive oil, baking soda, not powder, parsley, rosemary, salt and pepper. That's all you need. Let's get started. We will begin by peeling our russet potatoes. You could certainly use Yukon Gold as well. Once they're peeled and rinsed, you're going to want to cut them into planks and then into cubes no smaller than 1.5 inches or 2 inches square. Then into a pot of cold water, we're going to put the potatoes, a pinch of salt, a much bigger pinch than that, by the way, and half a teaspoon of baking soda. That's going to go onto the stove over high heat until it comes up to a boil, then reduce to a simmer. Next, our herbs. So you're going to take a handful of parsley and kind of fold it up in your palm like that, and then as you go through, it should cut pretty finely. Once you've gone all the way through, go back through and get any big pieces that you missed. Next, our rosemary. So hold it by the top of the stem and pull down to pull the leaves off. And then you're just going to take your knife and run through that as well. And you want them pretty small. No one wants a big chunk of rosemary in their mouth. Once you're done with that, onto the garlic. Smash it and chop it or mince it pretty fine. Once you've got your herbs taken care of, you're going to get them into a small saucepan, put it over medium heat, and add about 5 to 6 tablespoons of olive oil. And as you do this, you will notice that you should have used a larger pot and begin to panic. After about 3 to 4 minutes of simmering in the hot oil, the garlic is going to start to brown. You're going to take it off the heat, and you want to separate out the herbs from the oil itself. When the potatoes are fork tender, go ahead and get those drained and return them to the pot, and leave it there for a couple of minutes for any residual moisture to evaporate. Next, in a large mixing bowl, place the herb oil with as many of the herbs taken out of it as you can. Add the potatoes to it, a nice grinding of fresh black pepper, as well as another pinch of kosher salt. And from here, you got to mix it up. You actually want to get it a little bit mushy around the edges, because that's what's going to give you the crunchy texture when it comes out of the oven. You're going to take your potatoes and put them in a single layer on a baking sheet. If you want to oil it or butter it a little bit, you can, but it's not really necessary. Now this is going to be a little bit goopy, but you want to try and get them separated out into chunks as best you can. Again, in a single layer on the baking tray. All right, that's going to go into a 450-degree oven for about 25 to 30 minutes. Now, after that period of time, you're going to flip the potatoes around using a flexible but pretty rigid metal spatula. Get them flipped over so the other sides can crisp up. Shake them and bake them again for another 30 to 40 minutes until they are golden brown and, quite frankly, amazing looking. The final step before you're ready to serve is to reheat your herbs, add a little extra oil, and I like to go in with a little bit of lemon zest, but that's optional. Once you've got the herbs reheated, go ahead and toss your potatoes. They're going to sound so crispy your dog is going to come running. Then get them into a mixing bowl. You want to do this right before you're ready to serve. Add your herb and oil mixture. Get it all in there, a little extra seasoning, salt and pepper if you need it. Toss to combine and serve to a grateful world. Now when it comes to cooking a piece of beef this large and quite frankly this expensive, I'm not taking any chances. I won't mind cooked medium rare. You could go as much as medium, but anything past about 140 to 145 degrees and you lose flavor notes that you cannot get back. So when you're ready to cook, go ahead and get the beef out of the fridge. There's a lot of people that say, oh, let it rest for half an hour or an hour before you cook it. Honestly, the inside of this piece of beef is not going to change more than a few degrees in an hour. It really just doesn't accomplish very much. We'll be cooking ours the reverse seared method today. Now you could certainly accomplish that by doing it sous vide as we did in our burger video, but I'm just going to be using the oven today. I'm going to set my oven around 275 degrees and I'm going to put the beef on an elevated baking rack in the middle of it and wait till it hits about 125 to 130 degrees. That's going to get you nice medium rare. We are going to go ahead and sear it off once we're done. So you could simply put it in as it is, maybe add a little bit of pepper to it. I'm actually going to be shaking on a little bit of a coffee rub that's got some chili and espresso flavors in it. Once I've got that on there, I'm going to get it onto the baking rack and into the oven at 275. Alright, it took just over an hour for my roast to reach 125 degrees internally. I'm going to let it rest now for about 10 to 15 minutes, then I'm going to cut the ties off and we're going to sear it up. Now, normally I'm a big fan of cast iron skillets, particularly for high heat searing, but today I'm going to be using a 10-inch stainless steel pan. The reason is that I want to get a little bit of a fond or a little bit of some brown crud in the bottom of the pan while I sear off the roast. That will add a lot of extra flavor to our pan sauce. So, pan's really nice and hot. I'm just going to give this about 1 to 2 minutes per side, just kind of roll it around in here. I've got some butter and vegetable oil that's smoking hot. Let's go. That's the sound you need to hear. Alright, for our pan sauce, I'm just going to pour off a little bit of this excess fat here. But we've got a lot of nice color there in the bottom of the pan, so we're going to add some beef stock, 1/3 of a cup, and about 1/3 of a cup of red wine, and a sprig of thyme. We're going to let that reduce by about half. Once the liquid's reduced by about half and you've scraped up all the little delicious brown bits of flavor that are on the bottom, go ahead and get the thyme out, kill the heat. And the last thing I'm going to do is swirl in about 2 tablespoons of cold butter. Now, a roast of this size, which is about 2 pounds, is definitely enough for 4 people, or 2 if you want to have leftovers and put it on a salad or something like that the next day. Now, because we did the reverse sear in the oven where we cooked it at a low temperature and then just did a sear at the very end, we're able to get that beautiful medium rare rosy pink finish from edge to edge. Now the pan sauce that we made here is a very basic version of what's called a bordelaise sauce, which actually has demi-glace and shallots, and it's a lot more complex. But bottom line is, once you've created that delicious fond in the bottom of your pan, you don't want to let that flavor go to waste. So whether it's wine, stock, or just water that you throw down in there, do something to get that delicious flavor off the bottom and add it back to your dish. So now, add a little salad to this and you've definitely got a complete meal. As far as an appetizer and a dessert go, I think a beautiful appetizer would be a nice charcuterie board. That's its own show, but you know, some meats, some cheeses, some fruit, maybe some olives. As for dessert, I already said, that's up to somebody else. We've done enough. Mm. One of my favorite things about these potatoes is how they stay crispy even overnight in the fridge. Mm. This beef is so tender, I don't even need a knife. Mm. Mm. Damn, that's good. Well, from everyone here at Dishing Out to all of you and yours, I hope you have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. It's been a pleasure cooking for you guys these last few weeks and months, and I'm looking forward to doing even more of it in the new year. Until then, go make something delicious.